Hey everybody. Okay, so as promised, here's your video. Sorry it's late, lots going on. But anyway, let's get to it, shall we? Okay, so you had to read Stephen King's Why We Crave Horror Movies. This is a good example of a cause-effect essay. So he wants to know, the big question is, why do we crave them? Obviously. Okay, and he says in the third paragraph on the first page, some of the reasons are simple and obvious, and you know what? They are now that they're pointed out. And I say that because as a horror movie junkie, I've never really thought about why I like them. Why do I want to watch them? What is it about these movies that keep drawing us in? So it says, he says, to show that we're not afraid, that we can ride this roller coaster, okay? So he also says that doesn't mean that it doesn't scare us or it doesn't make us jump or something of that nature. It means that we really like this ride. We enjoy the adrenaline rush that we get from it. So why do we do it? Because we want the rush. By the time we're, he says that by the time we're in our 50s, our appetite for these types of movies goes down. And maybe that's because we're just in a different stage of our lives. I don't know. I'm not there yet. Close enough, but almost. So it's also we also do this to establish a sense of normalcy. Now, what does that mean? Why do we watch Hoarders? I don't know if anybody else watches Hoarders. Or why do we watch Intervention? To make us feel better about ourselves, to make us feel like, okay, I'm normal. Like, okay, my collection isn't that bad because I still have a floor that I can safely walk through. So that's really what he's saying, is that we want to feel better about ourselves. So we watch these movies of these sick people to say to ourselves, okay, whew, at least I'm not that crazy. He does, though, also state that we are slightly mentally ill for liking these types of movies. And maybe he doesn't write this. This is just my thought. Maybe he's more mentally ill than the rest of us because he writes these books. He wrote It that became a movie. He wrote Pet Sematary. All of these horror movies they come from him. He's a horror writer. That's what he does. So is he sicker than us because he can write it and he sees it in his head? Or what is it? Is he still normal? Okay, I'm sorry. I digress. These movies make us pay attention to our civilized selves, and that we don't, when we watch these movies, we don't see things as innocent children would. Children see things as you're either bad or you're good. There's no, there is no black and white. There is no idea of John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown, who was this, think of all the serial killers. They're great at hiding who they are. Okay, but children don't pick up on these things. It's either you're good or you're bad. If you seem good, then cool, you're good. If you seem bad, then you're bad. They think of it in terms of superheroes and villains. Batman and the Joker, for example. Okay, and is the Joker really that bad, or is he just crazy and just needs a little help? Anyway, I digress again. Okay, so he does say, though, that sanity becomes a matter of degree with watching these horror movies and craving them. And he says, if your insanity leads you to carve up women like Jack the Ripper or the Cleveland torso murderer, we clap you away into the funny farm. But if your insanity leads you only to talk to yourself when you're under stress or pick your nose on the morning bus, then you're left alone to go about your business, though it's still probably thought that you're a little quicker. He also says that it's kind of like we have to let steam out of the pot. We can only go so long without watching these horror movies to give ourselves that sense of normalcy, that we have to do it almost like in a cyclical fashion. Why, we have to be able to, feel these feelings of terror and fright, because our lives are so boringly is not even a word, but they're just so boring and normal that we want to feel something. We want to, whether it's joy or sadness or whatever. That's why we crave either a horror movie, or we could have turned this into like why we crave, romance movies or rom-coms or thrillers. We want to feel something outside of our everyday life. Okay, we want to have an experience, which is probably why we go to the movies versus renting one at home. We want a cinematic adventure. Okay, we want to sit there. We want to feel like we are absorbed into this movie. Anyway, so when we're kids, he says that when we're children and we show different emotions, when we have our first smile, our first laugh, parents are like, oh, good job, you're so cute. Ooh. And as children, we grow into learning more about that these emotions are so much more than just sad because I'm hungry, sad because I got hurt, or happy. It's, frustrated, and maybe we punch our sister or our brother, and we learn that that's bad. We're not supposed to do that, but that's a reaction to our emotion, and we don't understand it. So these feelings, as we evolve into adults, become more complicated. We go from having 3 emotions as babies to having 6 emotions as children to having like 15 emotions as adults, anxious, stressed, nervous, I don't know, it can mean some other ones. But we don't know those emotions as children because we're shielded from that. And sometimes we want to experience those, but not in the way that we experience them in our everyday lives. So we seek out something to help us do that. And a horror movie can give us that sense of anxiousness that's not, oh, I have a paper due. It's a different type of anxiety. It's oh my God, why would you go up the stairs? Everybody goes up the stairs and we know that they're going to die. Anyway, sorry. So these emotions, we repress them, we push them down, and now they come out and they're like, no, I need to be let out, which is maybe why some people have like, they can go long stints between, crying fests. I don't know. So he also has a very sick joke in there. But the repression of these emotions needs to be eventually let out. It's that idea of if we hold something in for too long, it's going to boil over. So if we just feed it, if we appease it, then we don't have that happen. Okay, so let that steam out of that pot, so to speak. These horror movies, he claims, deliberately appeal to the worst in all of us. It is morbidity unchained. Our most base instincts let free, our nastiest fantasies realized, and it all happens in the dark. For those reasons, good liberals shy away from horror films. And then he says that he likes to see the most aggressive, but then again, he's also a horror writer, so that's for him. So we're doing this to feed a basic instinctual need of fulfilling all of our emotions and recognizing them and making sure that we're still human. It's like we're doing a reality check on ourselves, and that's why we watch horror movies. So anyway, that is his essay, and that is, it's a good example of cause and effect. I know that it seems a little far-fetched maybe of that, but if you really try to break it down, he asks why, he gives you an answer, and what's the effect of that? It's mostly because we want to feel normal. Okay, so now I'm going to go over the handout of the cause and effect. Okay, so cause and effect we see a lot in history. We also can see it in science when we create a hypothesis and we want to find out the result of it. Okay, so what happened in the end? So I did this and this happened. So my example that I give on the cause and effect handout is the Trojan War. The cause was Helen of Troy's abduction, and the effect was the war itself. Okay, so keep in mind that there should be these signal phrases in your essay, led to, because, reason, cause, explanation, so, as a result, consequently, therefore, thus, then, thanks to, and then you have predictions, if, when, after, as soon as, may, might, possible. Okay, I know that's not a lot, but it's something small, and then I'm going to go over the topics that you guys have. The function is to explain a situation, okay? It's, in a sense, it's like your narrative essay. You had to choose a moment of your life, an event. Okay, so this is explaining a situation. So why did this happen? It happened because of this. So usually they explain historical references, scientific topics, things that have an actual cause and an actual effect that we can really kind of pinpoint. And with that being said, I'm going to pull up the topics that I have for you guys. Just bear with me. Where is that folder? Oh, there it is. I just can't read. Nope, that's not what I wanted. That is not what I wanted. Dummy. There it goes. Okay. Now I would like to share my screen so that you guys can see it. Okay, so here it is. So I know that it does not look pretty, and I'm sorry, I'm really not that great with, certain things. So here's your first topic, mental health. Now these causes don't exactly line up with their across the street effect. Okay, so absent father doesn't necessarily lead just to anger and depression. It could also lead to a lack of understanding, suicide, stress, depression. Okay, so the left side is all causes, the right side is all effects of mental health. Obviously, there are probably many more that my class did not come up with. I teach a total of 5 classes, 3 101s, a 102, and a 207. So I made them do all the legwork because why not? Whoops. Anyway, so that is your one topic, is mental health. I do try to pick topics that have fairly distinguishing causes and effects. Again, you are not tied down to these topics. This is just to, give you one less stress to worry about when writing it on choosing a topic. Drug addiction. So cause, drug use, drugs. Okay, so here are all of your causes, and the effects are addiction or overdose, more drug use, it's easy and it's available, it seems normal, complacency, and now maybe that normality right here that seems normal is because you're raised in a house of people who are addicted. This could also probably be switched over to alcohol addiction. So, they're pretty synonymous, I would say. Okay, the next one was teen pregnancy. They really wanted to do this one. I did not have this topic originally chosen, but they chose it. So anyway, we said that music, such as Cardi B's new song WAP, and Meg Thee Stallion, that, a song like that could cause a teen to want to have sex because they want to, I don't know, whatever, and then they get pregnant. Okay. They have a strict upbringing, which means that they're, trying to break out more. They're trying to rebel. Or maybe they are not supervised at all. Maybe they have a lack of education. Maybe their school doesn't give them, sex education. Maybe it's abstinence-only education. So what if your mom or your dad was a teen parent, or their friends are doing it? There's peer pressure. There's all of these things that could cause teenage pregnancy. I mean, yeah, in the end, it's kind of someone's fault. But anyway, I digress that because that doesn't matter. Social media is a topic. Now, I know that things that you might think, blah, 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 that's not really a topic. Well, think of all the things that happen on social media. Cyberbullying, running a business, okay, gossip. Think of the shade room. What is the shade room for those of you that follow the shade room on Insta? What do all of these platforms give us? Okay, mental health issues, it's good for mass communication and connections and networking. So you're not just thinking Twitter or Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, what am I missing? Snapchat, add LinkedIn into that, because LinkedIn is a great platform for a business, and for those connections and networking. So how do all of these play into one another on social media? You know, people see the highlight reel on Facebook or Instagram. People are only going to show you the good. They're not going to show you the bad. They don't want you to think that way about them. Okay, and then the last one was domestic violence. Okay, so maybe the abused person becomes the abuser. Maybe there's some mental health issues or some trust issues, abusive relationships, low self-esteem or jealousy. Okay, so the effects could be that, you know, they're obviously being abused, but they could become the abuser. They could become distant. They develop these trust issues. They push people away or become overbearing. So that is your list. This is also posted on Blackboard under our week 6 announcement. I think that's about it. Let me just double check my list. It's fine. Where are you? Yes, and then next week, Christian, what are you looking for? Next week is the analytical essay. So over the weekend, you're going to be reading The Ways of Meeting Oppression by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Hi, Mommy.
Hi, buddy. Say hi to my friends.
Mommy, what's that thing?
It's a sticky note so that I know what I'm talking about. And then also next week, we're going to start reading the novel, and the novel is what you're going to be basing your research paper off of, so I would actually pay attention to it. Please do not just rely on the movie. They are different, and I know that they are different. I've seen it, and I've read it a few times. It's up there on my bookshelf right there. See that white book right there? He's looking for it. All right, with that said, I'm going to let you guys go. I hope everybody has a good week, good weekend. If you have questions, please let me know. Now that I'm home, I'm able to check and respond to my emails as they're, essentially as they're coming in. So I will talk to you guys later. Have a good day.